Friends, colleagues and listeners, here we are again, part of the Care series with Etihad. And this particular episode is with Lubna Al Laham, who's the Manager of Marketing and Communications, Global Sales and Cargo. Lubna, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And it's a pleasure because we spent so much time going through the principles of the series and also the alignment with the nine priorities. What I'll do just before we jump into it, Lubna, is I'll just remind everybody this is a care series, and it's about organisations or individuals within an organisation who dare to care. And the principle is about caring about people, caring about the customers, caring about the business, caring about the tomorrows, and obviously caring about the results. And Lubna, thank you so much for the way that you managed to move those particular principles of the show into your own priorities, which I understand have recently come out.
Chris, as soon as you've sent me that email, I saw that they are very much aligned with the Etihad core 9 priorities that the Etihad CEO recently announced.
Yep.
So, for example, when we speak about caring about tomorrow, for us, it's long-term planning, it's about sustainability, it's about Abu Dhabi. You must have read and seen in a lot of places our message from Abu Dhabi for the world.
Yep. Yes, 100%. Yeah.
And then, of course, the second principle of caring about business. For us, it's the network, it's the fleet, it's our projects.
Yep.
And caring about people. For us, that's a core principle on its own. And another one was caring about customers. We call them guests and partners. And caring about results, obviously, it's the priority of revenue and cost.
That's it. That's what keeps everything going and ticking. Yeah.
So they're very much aligned, and we take great care to communicate it both internally and externally.
Yeah, and a beautiful word of care there as well. What a great segue. Now, the other thing, and on all your marketing, and I must say, some of the marketing, I don't know what you'd call it, but the platforms or the backdrops, etc., that you've provided, very, very logical, and it reminds me of so many people that I've met in my career who said, yeah, but cargo's all about boxes, and here we are, we've got the Etihad boxes, which is great. Now, one of the things that I've constantly been looking at during the podcasts is air cargo partner of choice, and also you explained as well about getting closer to the customers. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on what that means to you, especially as a marketeer, and then how you pass that message down to the rest of the organisation?
When we came up with the tagline of Air Cargo Partner of Choice, we were very careful in selecting it. And as you've seen from and heard from my colleagues, that the core thing to our business is our customers and partners, and we wanted to be close to them as much as possible. And this has seen us through over the past few years under the leadership of Martin Drew. So just to give you a small example from a marketing perspective, when we wanted to enhance our online booking portal, what we did is we invited a couple of our core and key customers and asked them, what do they think? What would they want? What would make their experience better when they're booking with the online booking portal? And they gave us a couple of feedback. We went back with our development team, implemented this feedback. Then they were first to see it before going live. They gave us additional comments, which some of them we implemented and some were added in the next phase.
Yep.
But then when we went live, they were very happy and the results were amazing. We were very impressed with the results and the comments and the feedback from customers who wanted to use the online booking portal because it was exactly what they needed.
Yeah.
So that's just one example of how we're getting close to customers, and for us, they are the key foundation of our business, of course.
Yeah. And it's so important, isn't it? And so obvious, but so many people and so many industries and so many businesses in those industries, they seem to overlook it.
I mean, having that consistent message, be it seen, be it heard, be it read, makes a huge difference in gaining trust for the brand. And that doesn't only work externally, it works internally as well.
100%. And this principle of everybody being taken on a journey and understanding the storyline is so important. Now that brings me to a key question, because, and I'm sure you've come across it in your experiences in your career. When people talk about marketing, so many people don't appreciate the value and the benefit and the impact it can make, both internally, externally, subliminally, whatever the messages are. How have you found the storyline now and the new strategy and the product? How are you finding that being received by the other departments?
Some people, yes, misunderstand marketing and they think about it as a cost. but rather
Yes,
it's
yes.
for those who know the value of long-term planning.
Yep.
Those are the people who understand the value of marketing and the value of a brand. So for us, when I first joined, they thought like, what is cargo marketing? It's just a website and a couple of brochures.
Yeah.
But then when they saw the same message on social media, the same in press releases, advertising, events being communicated internally, I had the staff coming forward and telling me, well, look, now our customers are saying that they've heard about Etihad Cargo, they've just seen it. And that consistent message not only helped us with our customers' relation, gaining the trust, but also aligned the term internally. And that made a massive difference on boosting morale, because now it's all working towards the same vision, the same message that's consistent over the past few years.
Yeah, and it is a great brand, and it's and like everything. We had the discussions with Martin that you've obviously heard as well, and what came out of COVID and what Etihad managed to do, and the Hope Consortium, all things like that, it really boosted the image, the vision, and the understanding and awareness of Abu Dhabi and of course Etihad.
It's a brand that you fall in love with.
Yeah.
You get very passionate about, and you want to contribute to its success.
Yeah. And looking at the tail, I was here when they introduced the new tail, and the design, and you see people there say, but change and development is good, and the more people open their minds to it, the better it gets.
Absolutely.
Now, on the opposite side of that question, what actually made you want to come into air cargo and aviation from your previous positions?
Well, aviation has been in my blood. My father was a pilot, so I always wanted to be in that industry. And when I first joined, people were like, but cargo, it's just moving a couple of boxes.
Yeah.
And I said, I would like to explore it. And here I am. It's a whole universe.
Yeah, but it is different, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
once you get in, there's so many different sides to it. Just like the boxes, you've got all the sides to the boxes, but there's so many different ways of looking at the business. True. And wherever an aircraft lands, you've got all those different services and support services and occupations and job roles, etc. And the fact that it's global, once you can do it in one area, you can go and do it again somewhere else. So the opportunities are incredible.
So for me, it was more about three things. That definitely it's moving more than just boxes, a couple of boxes around the world. It offers a huge space for creativity and a lot of knowledge sharing. It was remarkable. And the fact that there are so many unsung heroes that are working in the background, that many people walking around the streets would not be aware of what this industry is doing to make their life easier.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. And that's one thing that COVID brought, even when it was for your favourite vegetables or whatever, or in my case, a can of baked beans. I need them anyhow. So it really brought home how important it is. Now, another thing I want to ask you: when you did come into the business, and if you looked at the way you performed or the way you acted in other industry sectors, what were any of the surprises that you had when you came in? Because I'm sure people would have said to you, "But you don't know anything about cargo." What were the surprises that you had when you came in?
Well, as I said, that there's a huge space for creativity. I mean, it has been a very silent industry that doesn't speak. Yeah. And being able to give it a voice, especially giving voice to those people at Etihad who have been working over the past years. We created series of Meet the Team where they were speaking about what they do. We started showcasing the different products. It's really that open space where there's so much to do for this industry. I mean, the digitalization was started quite late for the cargo industry, while it's so advanced in other industries. And then same thing for marketing. There's just a lot to be done. And it's been a pleasure working in it for the past 3 years.
Yeah, and don't you think coming in with fresh ideas and also seeing what happened in other industries, that it brought a different perspective and a different opportunity to change the direction, make people appreciate it more?
Absolutely. You bring a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And also, I think if you can make other people see your vision and see the story, and then they start to see it themselves, they act differently as well.
I mean, we were speaking earlier that there's a lot of noise in the industry.
Yep.
And it's how you bring people to focus on what you're offering, on your brand, to recognize you and to stand out, or to offer you a couple of seconds from the craziness of this world. I mean, that's a huge opportunity, and that's where you start building that brand recognition, trust, and of course the relationship moving forward.
Yeah, 100%. And from your perspective now, looking at the types of products that are in play and also looking at Abu Dhabi as the hub, how do you feel that you've managed to combine all of those ingredients together with the flavour of Abu Dhabi into the products as a result of the services that you know the customers are looking for?
Well, I think I have to ask you, how do you see our brand and our products?
For me, I mean, there's two organisations that I'm very biased towards. One was Lufthansa, because they gave me a chance, they trained me, and it was, I think, one of the best companies you could ever have. And then the other one was Etihad, because luckily enough, I was here, touch wood, you know, during the halcyon days when you're having a couple of aircraft a month and everything was going. Everybody wanted to be part of the Etihad club, you know, from GHAs to customers. It was exceptional. And then the development here in Abu Dhabi, I was here for the first Formula One. You know, it just put Abu Dhabi on the map. So for me, it would be a little bit biased to say, because it's always such a positive memory and a positive experience. But what I'm seeing from lots of other people is, you know, in the old days, somebody would say, what's the best airline? And people would say Singapore Airlines. What's the best piano? And they'd say Steinway, you know. But then you ask them, have you ever played a Steinway, or have you played a Yamaha, or have you ever travelled on Singapore? And they'd say no. So it's that perception.
Absolutely.
And it's that message. So wherever that message came from and whoever developed it, that was fantastic. But Etihad is starting to follow the same sort of principles. Whenever anybody talks about Etihad now, it's always positive.
This is what we're trying to do with our consistent messaging across all the communication channels. I mean, I take huge pride of being part of this unique brand as Etihad, and of course, part of the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. I've seen what they did and how they've handled COVID, the COVID era, let's say, and the aid that was taken all over the world. And you really feel proud that you are part of this success story, and you aim to be able to contribute to the success story moving forward.
Yeah, no, 100%. And even, I shouldn't say uneven, but if you look regionally as well at lots of the other Middle East carriers, and I've also been lucky enough to work for two of the three that most people would consider, the whole region has started to market itself differently. And it's really, really putting the unique setting on the map for everybody to see. And now everybody's aware of it. And probably the only other one that, you know, would come into question then as far as a hub would be Turkish as well, because, you know, this super hub principle is starting to really take off. Yet Etihad has managed to separate itself, and it's got that unique, different approach. It's not trying to be the biggest, it's not trying to be the best, it's trying to be great at what it does and wants to do well, which obviously you're contributing to.
So let me answer this in two parts. One, that as you see now, what you said illustrates the value of marketing, of course, recognizing the region as a brand, each person as a brand on their own. So obviously that's the key role of marketing, of how you position yourself and how you communicate yourself.
Yeah.
The second part of it is what you said about Etihad being very unique and wanting to stand out with what it does and doing what it does very well. I ask my colleagues to visualize Etihad as a person who lives in Abu Dhabi. So basically this person is very unique, is very authentic, has the Middle Eastern hospitality in their blood. They're very relationship driven, and they're open to the world. So visualizing the brand like this really makes it stand out and gives it that identity that's different than the rest.
That was so well put.
Thank you.
We should have put that in the music, Salem. That was really, really good. No, really, seriously. And it also reminds me of messages. And I remember one of my family telling me once, as a human being, to be happy, you need to be happy with what you've got, not chase what you have not. And I think that's also what Etihad are doing as well. They're not trying to chase everybody else. They're looking at what they do well, and they want to continually do that well, which is a great thing. And again, our business, people referring to it as boxes, it's an ordinary business. And if we do ordinary things well and consistently, it's extraordinary.
Absolutely.
A little bit like the marketing magic. Now, we've had a lot of interaction over a short period of time, and I've been very impressed, as you know. We've joked on the side about a few things as well, so I can't put that on air. But one of the things that I would like to ask you now is if you were able to give advice to people sitting out in the rest of the world, wherever they are, wherever they come from, and there's 120, 130 nationalities working within Etihad. If you had the chance now to pitch, why should they join Etihad, or why should they come into this aviation business, and especially the cargo side, what would your pitch be?
Well, I would tell them if they are ready to explore a hidden universe, they need to put their creative hat on, put their heart, passion into it, and jump right in. I mean, there's a lot to learn. The industry offers a lot. It has a lot of challenges, but yet a lot of opportunities, and it's very rewarding. So if they're ready to embark on this journey, then you need to jump right in.
That's it. Never say no. Open that door, and like I said, you're a great example, Lubna.
Thank you.
The last thing now, just before we finish, where do you see yourself and Etihad in the next, say, 5 to 10 years? And from a marketing perspective, not nothing else.
I'd like to see myself, of course, contributing more to the success of this beautiful brand and being a core element to it.
Okay, very good. That's good enough answer, and that seals it. Look, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure dealing with
Thank you.
And the way you've dealt with myself and Salem. Okay, if that's what the customers get as well, then happy days moving forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.